It's confusing because occupational therapy, you're like, well, kids don't have jobs. So the reason why it's called occupational therapy is because we're looking at people's occupations, their day-to-day routines, right? What activities do people want and need to do throughout the day? So for adults, you've got a million things, whether it be waking up and brushing your teeth, getting dressed, going to work, running your business. For kids, their occupation is typically learning and playing. And so
I need that job again.
Therapy, I know. I want to be a kid. I want to be an infant.
Right.
So for them, we're looking at how we can help them engage in their occupations. And in occupational therapy, we're looking at, is there some sort of barrier that might be limiting someone's performance in their day-to-day occupations, right? So is it a certain diagnosis? Is it muscle weakness? Is it challenges with executive functioning, right? What might be something that's posing a barrier? And then as occupational therapists, how can we use our lens, kind of looking at the whole person and help them do different tasks, right? So we're making interventions or coaching strategies to help get them to where they want or need to be.
Right. So in these early childhood years, like you mentioned, from newborn to 3, you guys are really focused on particular milestones, right? Like, for example, rolling over, crawling, walking. I think you mentioned to me crawling. Did someone mention to me crawling's not like a milestone anymore? Did you?
I guess it's not. Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. They redid the milestones with the CDC.
Can you name off a few of these milestones to help everyone understand like the things that we're talking about?
Yes. So when we're talking about milestones, these are different skills that your baby's going to develop in a general trajectory, right? So first, they're going to tolerate time on their tummy. Then, we're moving through different things like pushing up on their arms on their tummy. We're looking at, are they rolling over? Are they crawling? Are they walking? Those are some of the gross motor milestones. And then, of course, we have different categories, right? So fine motor milestones, are they starting to kind of bat at toys? Then are they grabbing for them and eventually getting more precision with picking up little pieces of cereal? The social milestones, right? And some of those communication things. So there's a big wide array and a bunch of things, but that's kind of the general idea of these milestones.
Got it. I want to circle back a little bit. I'm going to bounce around a little bit, so you guys bear with me here. There's a few things that I want to touch on. I want to make sure that this is listened to by everybody, is particularly the dads. And as you mentioned, you grew up in a house without a dad, and I want to hear more about that. And I think I want to circle back to why I think it's important for dads to really pay attention to what you have to say and why it matters, in the fact that they need to understand it so they can support mom when mom's trying to do this thing because she read it on some mommy blog, and we don't have daddy blogs. We have TBG podcasts. So, let's take a step back before we go deep diving into the occupational therapy stuff and the milestones and how to reach those and how you approach that. Growing up, not knowing your dad, was that a big weight for you, or was it a confusion? Like, at what point in your life were you like, wait a minute, I don't have a dad. Like, all your friends have dads, and there's the home dynamic is different. Mm-hmm. What was that like?
It was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because looking back at it now as an adult, I have a different lens on it, especially being in my industry, looking at like, oh my gosh, look at all these things that I missed out on. I always knew, I was missing that piece, and I had
like always, or was there like an age, like kindergarten, first grade, when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you're like, wait a minute. Or do you feel like it was like, what are your early memories of this? Do you know?
Yeah. So I'll spare how much I really get into like the nitty gritty details, but, my sister's dad was in my life when I was young.
So your mom remarried or something? Okay.
Yep. And when they got a divorce, I kind of then processed like, I don't know who my dad is. He's not in my life, and it's not possible for me to meet him. So, and I was little, like I did not know how to process that at all. I think as I got older, it started to kind of eat at me more. Particularly, I remember my 18th birthday and everyone's like, you're not a child anymore. And I remember thinking, oh, dang, like I really went through my whole childhood without having my dad. And just due to the circumstances, it just was not possible for me to know him. I didn't know who he was. So that was interesting. I remember wondering, like the mind can wander of
course,
who it could be or what is this man like.
Did you talk to your mom about this over the years?
Yes. And she's great. She did everything she could to support me and she did the best she could. And it's just due to the circumstances, it was impossible to know who he was. And it's a happy ending, spoiler alert. I should have started with that.
Well, you said you met him when you were 25.
Yes. He's amazing. It's been really, really great. But I actually found him through 23andMe, which is wild. Not him directly, but that kind of led to some puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
And
you were on the investigator route.
Oh, yeah. I could, honestly, in another world, I could be a PI.